Hello and welcome to Roaming Norway. This is an absolutely abused Tesla Model Y. It is a 2021 model. It's built at the Gigafactory in Shanghai, so it's a made in China Model Y, and it has been driven for 3.5 years in rough Norwegian conditions. It has been almost exclusively supercharged, almost no home charging, and it has been driven for over 100,000 kilometers. So today I'm going to run you through the car. We're going to look at battery degradation and the quality of the car and how everything has held up throughout the years and throughout the over 100,000 kilometers. So let's take a look at this made in China Tesla Model Y 2021 model. This car is kinda neglected to some degree, or it's just used like a car should be. Some people wash their car every week or even multiple times a week. This one is almost never washed. It's used in rough Norwegian conditions. It's used off the main roads, on gravel roads, and it has just been through everything. So here you can see the car is not washed, not even for this video. So you can see that it's super dirty, and it has probably been this dirty for maybe a month, maybe two. So let's run around the car and take a look. This one, as I mentioned, is built at the Gigafactory in Shanghai. This means that it comes with the long-range battery, and in this case the long-range battery is the LG battery, and it's the 75 kilowatt-hour battery. So to find out the degradation, I could do a degradation test, of course, running it down to 0 and see how many kilowatt-hours we can pull out of the car. But I have a much easier way, which is not as accurate, but we can take a look at the different charging sessions over time, and Tessie compiles a degradation for us. So you can see that the maximum capacity of this battery, which is correct, I have verified this, 74.86 kilowatt hours, so about 75 kilowatt hours. And we have 68.57 kilowatt hours remaining capacity. This means that we have a degradation of 8.4% on this car. 8.4% for 105,000 kilometers of basically only supercharging. This one is 95% or more of the energy in this car has been from a supercharger, which means fast charging, which means typically maybe more degradation on your battery. There are still studies about this. So 8.4% degradation over 3.5 years and 105,000 kilometers is not bad in my opinion. It seems like the Tessie numbers are pretty accurate as well. They can be a little bit off depending on how long you have driven for, but I have had Tessie on this car for quite a while, so it has been able to track multiple charging sessions to verify the remaining capacity of the battery, so it's more accurate. Of course, the best way to do a degradation test is to drive pretty slowly and see how much energy you can pull out of the battery to not have too much heat loss. I will not do that with this car. I'll just go from the Tessie numbers. They seem to be somewhat accurate. So 8.4% degradation over 3.5 years and 105,000 kilometers, which is quite a lot for a car, especially driven in Norway, where we have shorter distances and slower speeds. In America, you typically have more kilometers, or miles of course, but in Norway 105,000 kilometers over 3.5 years is quite a lot of driving. Yeah, let's just walk around the car. I can already see that we have a factory mud flap here from Tesla. These absolutely suck, but it has held up. You can see it's completely dented there. And we can see here it's gone. So the factory mud flap is gone. Let's take a look at yeah, because on the Model Y we don't have the paint issue here, because we have plastics. You can't even see the difference between the plastics and the paint because of the dirt that's here. There is some dirt there. Seems okay. Actually, hasn't been any major paint issues with this car. Of course, the owner of this car is able to go over the car once it's washed and look at paint issues, but we haven't seen any paint issues other than a lot of stone chips here on, let's see here, there. Lots of these stone chips on this car, and there is no PPF, there is no ceramic coating, there is no protection of any kind on this car. I forgot to mention that. There are a ton of these very noticeable paint chips, and that's because it has the solid black paint from Tesla, which not only shows paint chips very well, it actually is a very thin layer of paint as well. It's not as good as the other colors from Tesla. I must say that the Model Y looks the best in black, in my opinion, but not in this condition, of course. We of course have Nokian Hakkapeliitta R5 studless winter tires, and they seem to be have good threads. I don't know if they are changed, maybe. Should be after 105,000 kilometers, but most of that is in summer, of course. Okay, let's look a little bit on the quality of the car. So, of course, this one is kind of, yeah, you can see it goes up and then a little bit down. It's a little bit strange in its operation, but these seems to have held up pretty well, but they don't like inspire any confidence at all. They are they feel very flimsy, but they are even worse on the old Model 3, so I think it's better than that. Regarding alignment and paint issues here, which is kind of typical. Let's see if we can... There we go. Everything looks fine here. There is an issue where this one crashes into this one and then destroys the paint, and then you get like oxidation in the paint here, or sorry, in the metal itself. I'm not sure if it's steel or aluminium here. I think this one is aluminium and this one is maybe steel. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It looks in perfect condition. Nice. This one is used as like a work truck kinda, so it's absolutely abused. The seals look nice, no issues with water intrusion on this car at all, which is nice. Let's take a look inside here while we are here. These work. There are of course scratches in the plastics here. The newer Model Ys have like the fabric material all the way up here, which is nice, because plastics will always scratch. But it doesn't seem too bad. There are of course some skis here and stuff like that. Looks fine. Let's listen to the closing sound. Wow, it sounds kind of rough, to be honest. Let's look at the charge port. The charge port there has never been any issues with the charge port over 105,000 kilometers, even in snow and ice, and really kind of abusing the charge port to the max. No issues, which is kind of impressive. Okay, let's move to the doors, which are they are not that great, to be honest, because when I close the door, let's see, you need to really push the door to get it closed, and if you don't close the door on a Tesla, it'll stay active like this. So the doors don't feel that great. It feels actually, it felt better on my 2021 Model 3, but on this Tesla Model Y they don't feel that amazing. And you have the older seats here as well. So let's turn up the ISO here a little bit. These are the same seats that was in my 2021 Model 3. They are okay, but the new ones from Giga Berlin, the Model Y from Giga Berlin, has much better support in the seats. You can see there are quite a lot of wrinkles here, if you can see on camera, but nothing really that out of the ordinary. It's of course a little bit dirty inside here. Everything seems fine here. Let's jump inside and I'll show you that it has gone 105,300 kilometers. And the lifetime efficiency, we don't have the lifetime efficiency. There we have the lifetime efficiency, 177 watt-hour per kilometer. That's quite impressive for an SUV, isn't it? And yeah, just got actually a Christmas gift from the guys over at Enhance Auto, so we could install the sexy knob inside here, because the driver of this car actually wants his regen off when driving in slippery conditions. So the only way to do that is to buy this sexy knob and the sexy commander. You don't need this sexy knob, you just need the sexy commander, but it's easier to adjust if you have this knob installed. Yeah, so there is the key card. So with such an amount of degradation, how does this car kind of hold up? Well, it had, I think it has a VLTP range of 533 kilometers, so it's not really that amazing actually. And it has gotten better in the new Model Ys, and next year we will see a big improvement with the Model Y Uniper. I am pretty sure of that, even if they don't decide to have the bigger battery. So having that 8.4% of degradation doesn't really help this car. In addition, it has the LG battery, and we all know from watching my videos that the LG battery is not that great. We have the Panasonic battery in the US, which is so much better. It holds 250 kilowatts for so much longer. And some people talk about the degradation differences between the cars, but there really isn't that much data on the differences between the LG and the Panasonic pack. So I'm not sure I'm convinced that this pack in this car holds up better than the Panasonic one. Because we have 8.4% of degradation, and that's quite a lot when you have a car that didn't really have super amazing range from the beginning. This car still has better range than the rear-wheel drive Model Y made in Giga Berlin, which I have tested extensively on this channel, even with the degradation. But of course this is an NMC pack, and that means that you really want to charge this car to 80%. For charging etiquette on this car, I can tell you that this car has been charged to 100% very many times, and again at superchargers it's the worst case scenario. And after 3.5 years and 105,000 kilometers, if the testing numbers are correct, which they look correct to me, 8.4% of degradation is actually pretty great. We all know that the degradation kind of goes the first years down to about 10%, 15%, something in between there, after quite a while, and then it just flattens out. We don't see that much degradation after that, unless it's a pack failure. But I haven't heard about a single LG pack failure, at least not yet, here in Norway. So I think the battery pack itself is pretty solid, which is very nice, especially since this one has gone over the basic warranty from Tesla. Actually, that's 100,000 kilometers in Norway, and we are now working our way up to the drivetrain warranty of 192 kilometers. 192,000 kilometers, of course. This car, of course, has the Intel chip. You can see here Intel Atom, and it has the lead acid battery, okay? And this means with the Intel Atom chip is that you start to lose features. For example, we have new software, almost a new software, but this software should, for example, have the weather radar that I showed you in an earlier video. So if you didn't watch my video on the Tesla Model 3 Highland driving 12 hours from Trondheim to Bergen, I recommend watching that because you can see the differences in the AMD Ryzen system, AMD Ryzen, sorry. Here is the Intel chip, and it's actually pretty fast. It's much faster than any other chip that legacy automakers put in their cars. You can see here that it's very snappy for being like an Intel chip, but you start to lose out on features like this weather radar, and also the camera quality is quite poor. You know, I have the new hardware 4 cameras in my Model 3 Highland, but aside from that, it holds up pretty well, and it did have some earlier crashing issues actually, but not recently. It has been super stable recently, so that's nice. And you still get the new features like moving the passenger seat, and Tesla is actually pretty good at keeping these cars updated regardless of the age of the ship, at least to the best of their ability. Yeah, we need to fill some air. I need to see if, since this car is neglected, service, wheels and tires, deck, winter, yeah, okay, everything is okay there. Yeah, so quite snappy, isn't it, for being the old Intel Atom chip. I think this is the same chip that Tesla put in the Model 3s in 2017, and that starts, that's like 8 years ago, something like that. And yeah, it still holds up. This chip still holds up. It's not as fast as the AMD Ryzen, but it's quite fast. But we start to lose out on updates, of course. In the US, it's even worse if you have the hardware 3 and the FSD pack, but that doesn't apply to us. It's nice to see that Tesla tries to implement everything they can, at least, on this Intel Atom chip. If you're buying a used Model Y, I would recommend trying to stretch the budget for a AMD Ryzen chip. And as I said, generally this car feels worse built than the Made in Berlin Model Y. And it might be due to the age or due to the factory. I think it's mostly due to the age and the perfection that Tesla has put into manufacturing these cars. But generally it has held up pretty well. There are no major squeaks and rattles in this car after 105,000 kilometers, so that's nice. The noise isolation of the car is worse than the new Model Y. Even the 2022-2023 Model Ys are better noise isolated. And the ride comfort is absolutely horrendous in this car because it's before the comfort suspension, and even the comfort suspension isn't comfortable. So this car is super stiff to drive. Regarding the service on this car, window washer fluid, of course, charging, a lot of supercharging, almost only supercharging, but we have had some service or warranty work on this car. The heat pump failed. That happens to all 2021 model Tesla Model 3s and Ys almost in cold environments because there was a design failure. Anyways, it was replaced, of course, free of charge within the warranty, and that's nice that they replaced that. But we also had an interesting thing happening to the rear drive unit. So let's take you around. The rear drive unit got some kind of issues, I don't know. It sounded like you were driving a V8 with the car down the highway, which is not the typical case with Teslas. They are very silent usually. And basically I think the drive unit kind of shredded itself because of an oil pump failure. So you didn't get the amount of oil you need, because contrary to popular belief, the drive units in Teslas use oil. And yeah, it was replaced free of charge. I think that's a very normal issue with the 2021 Model 3s and Ys. Not that it happens to everyone, but it's a known failure. And it was, of course, fixed free of charge. Aside from that, no other warranty work, changing the window washer blades, of course, and the cabin air filter, which I did on this car. No problem to do that yourself. Aside from that, there is no regular maintenance on Teslas. It's just if something fails, you try to get it on warranty, of course, and all the other things that applies to all other cars, like window washer fluid, wiper blades, and cabin air filters. I think that was it for this abused Tesla Model Y. What do you think? Do you think it has held up pretty well? The stone chips, the degradation, what do you think about it? And also the interior is quite impressively held up nice, but the ride comfort has always been bad, and the noise isolation has been pretty bad as well. Not the greatest Tesla Model Y, but it's also a very early Tesla Model Y. And in my opinion, that the interior has held up. There has been almost no other issues, that some heat pump failure and drive unit stuff that has been fixed on warranty. Aside from that, it has been almost no issues with this car. This is an LED bar, by the way, that's installed, which is non-functional due to all the dirt on it. So, thank you so much for watching Roaming Norway. If you are interested in buying a new Tesla, not a used one, this only applies to the new Teslas you buy. The year is coming to an end, and it's your last chance to buy a Tesla if you're interested. Please use tesla.roamingnorway.com, then you get a discount. Doesn't matter where in the world you are, in the US, in Europe, doesn't matter, tesla.roamingnorway.com. Go to that link and you can see how much of a discount you can get on a new Tesla. There are many good deals to be had at the end of the year, typical Tesla style, so please just take a look. Anyways, thank you so much for watching Roaming Norway, and see you in another video soon.